Finding out what dwells beneath the soil of our past is always exciting. For multiple centuries, we have been discovering great artifacts, burial grounds, tombs, and wondrous buried aspects of ancient cultures, finally coming to light after millennia of concealment. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be taking a look at 3 recent archaeological discoveries. Ancient mummy found entombed in strange cocoon never before seen by archaeologists. A 3,400-year-old mud mummy was recently discovered, the body wrapped in a hardened cocoon of mud resembling a hard shell that baffled the scientists who conducted a scan of the mummy. This deceased body suggests an entirely different way of burial performed by the ancient Egyptians, a precursor to the typical mummification process to which we are all so accustomed. Its finding might alter the way we view the way the ancient Egyptians buried their dead. A pressing theory regarding the mud cocoon is that it was used to stabilize the mummy to protect the body from any harm or damage that would handicap it in the afterlife. An alternative suggestion made by scientists was that it was a practice used for ancient aristocrats and the upper classes who would be mummified in resin-based concoctions from 1294 BCE to about 945 BCE, and that this was one of the earlier methods of such intricate burials. However, that leaves the question of why mud was used on this person and not resin, as it ought to have been. A study conducted by Karen Sawada, who is a researcher in the Department of History and Archaeology at Macquarie University in Australia, concluded that mud would have been a significantly cheaper material and far more common and easy to obtain. The mummy itself was dated back to 1207 BCE. However, it was shown to have been damaged post-mortem, the body even having been placed into the wrong tomb. The body, found to be female, was put into a coffin with the inscription of Maruta or Marua, which would have been their name, though researchers claim the body is not that of Maruta but another unidentified female. This is due to the fact that the mud mummy suffered the same fate as many other mummies of the 19th century. The body was shoved into a coffin that belongs to another person in order for the dealers who sold artifacts and mummies to museums and personal collectors to sell a complete burial set. The body found inside was 200 years older than the coffin, which was identified as being only made in 1000 BCE. Though the body is not Marua's, it's a female who perished in her young adulthood, somewhere between the ages of 20 and 30, most likely at the age of 26. After her passing, she seemed to have been mummified with the usage of the typical textiles used in ancient Egyptian burial rites. It's during this time that researchers assume that her left knee and leg became damaged by some accident or mistake, though it's probable that the damage was caused by early grave robbers. There is evidence to suggest someone attempted to fix the damage several generations down the line with a rewrapped padding and more application of the mud carapace. The person who attempted to repair the broken parts of the body made a muddy mess of it, with a mixture of mud, sand, and straw built in between the layers of wrapping. The top of the mummy was coated with raw crimson ochre, with multiple layers of linen placed over the damp materials. Unfortunately, their efforts were fruitless as the mummy was damaged once again later down the line, though in a different spot. The neck and head were consequently injured because this injury cut through all the layers, including the muddy carapace and various linen layers. It is evident that this was recent damage, done likely within only the last few centuries. Notably, this is not the only Egyptian mummy which was repaired after death. The body of Pharaoh Seti I was rewrapped multiple times, as well as the body of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, so this was a semi-common practice, so it is assumed. Despite this, it was still not a popular practice opposed to the more usual ways of mummification, it seems, and the discovery of this body shows us that the burial process was significantly more nuanced than we believed and that the ancient Egyptians had multiple and various ways of burial, all dependent on time period, area, and social status. Archaeologists unearth Bronze Age graves at Stonehenge tunnel site. Archaeologists doing preliminary work on the site of Stonehenge, checking out the area for the suggested new A303 road tunnel, discovered a myriad of amazing finds, pottery from Neolithic times, and most importantly, Bronze Age graves. A plethora of awe-inspiring discoveries were made. Among the findings was an unusual shale object, suspected to have once been a part of a staff or intricate club. The graves, which are nearly 4,000 years old, held a baby's corpse buried with a tiny beaker and several ditches which held flint. This suggests that the people of ancient Stonehenge performed leatherwork and early metalwork on a regular basis. South of the visitor centre of Stonehenge, researchers uncovered an entire mass of antique pottery. Archaeologists believe that the pottery was created by the same people who created the famous landmark Stone Circle. Matt Levers, who is a consultant archaeologist in Wessex's Department of Archaeology, said, "We've found a lot of evidence about people who lived in this landscape over millennia. Traces of people's everyday lives and deaths, intimate things. Every detail lets us work out what was happening in that landscape before, during, and after the building of Stonehenge." The road tunnel's construction is a subject of intense controversy, with the A303, which sits close to the ancient stones, meant to be transformed into a 2-mile tunnel. Professionals argue that such heavy construction work will surely harm the landmark and damage it, potentially even destroying it, leading to the tragic loss of thousands of irreplaceable artifacts which could reveal a million secrets about the ancient peoples who resided in the area millennia ago. And the proposed A303 tunnel campaign was legally challenged by environmentalists and archaeologists. But Wessex Archaeology and Highways England assure the public that they are going to handle the situation delicately and in a proper, systematic manner. The tunnel's preliminary phase included the researchers hand-digging nearly 2,000 test pits and recording their trial trenches, of which there were more than 400. The team involved with excavating and building the tunnel are set to spend the next 18 months working with over 150 archaeologists, and the actual building of the tunnel is meant to begin in the beginning months of 2023. The current findings, as well as any future ones, are to be sent to storage in Salisbury and are supposed to eventually be put on display in the museum, where they will be safe and cared for so that these artifacts will last for generations to come. Archaeologists find intact ceremonial chariot near Pompeii. Of all ancient cities we know of, the elusive Pompeii is surely the most famous of all for the sorrowful sudden fate which befell it and its many citizens when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, coating the entire population in burning soot, encasing all its people, buildings, animals, and objects in everlasting existence. Officials at the site of Pompeii revealed their discovery of a never-before-found ceremonial chariot, a breathtaking discovery joining the surplus of wonderful findings made at and around the archaeological site. The chariot itself was made with elements of iron, but its decorations were made of bronze and mineralized wooden pieces, and was found in the northern settlement of Pompeii, amongst the other ruins. It sat in the ruins of a stable where the dead remains of a trio of horses were found. It was parked, likely ready for its owner to take it home, something which never came to be, for the volcano immortalized the moment in time forever. Unlike the majority of other findings, this chariot was pristinely preserved, almost entirely in one piece. Having survived the initial eruption, the eventual caving in of the stables and centuries' worth of antiquity thieves was found sitting perfectly beside one of the ancient villas surrounding Mount Vesuvius, overlooking the stunning view of the Mediterranean Sea at the edge of the city. Last year, archaeologists found the skeletons of what they believed to have been a wealthy man and his male slave nearby the villa, seemingly trying to escape the devastation, unsuccessfully. Archaeologists believe that this particular chariot was used for festivals and parades, even potentially meant as a carriage for newlywed wives to carry them to their new husbands' homes. Chariots were used as casual transport to carry products and merchant goods as well as produce, but the intricate decorations suggest this was a chariot used only for special occasions and used only several times a year, instead of being an everyday chariot. As for the villa on which it was found, the Italian police discovered it back in 2017 after busting an illegally dug tunnel in the area. 2 people living nearby were put on trial for illegally digging about 80 meters worth of tunnels in the Pompeii area without a permit. Archaeology allows us a colourful, bright insight into the past. It lets us see how our ancestors lived and what everyday life was like for them. Ancient civilizations which are now long gone thought of life, death, wealth, and status which have since disappeared live on in our memories and with these constant discoveries. But what do you make of these archaeological stories and their findings? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.